Welcome to Get Your Shoot Together, the photographer's podcast where we discuss studio, business, life, and keeping it all in line. I am Kira Derryberry.
And I'm Mary Fisk-Taylor.
And here we are, Mary, recording a podcast.
I know. This is so exciting. I love a podcast because I don't have to put on, do my hair and makeup.
Yeah. I feel a little bit like Delicious Dish.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
NPR,
I feel
I do.
It's kind of a lifelong dream to be able to do my own Delicious Dish. So goal achieved. We have a podcast.
I like it. I'm so excited.
Box. Yeah.
I am thrilled. I'm really excited about this, Kira. And we said this, in our introduction as well, but just the whole idea of, trying to just talk about real stuff, real photography stuff and real life stuff and coming at it from such a real authentic place. And both of us, I know for a fact, are in the arena daily, getting our butt kicked in this industry and
hell.
And I like it. I like this a lot. And I hope that others get so much joy. It's bringing me joy, Kira.
If it doesn't spark joy, then why bother? Apparently,
why bother?
Why bother? So I know that today we're going to be talking about celebrating wins. And that's kind of our goal. But I want to tell you about a win that just happened that I really need to celebrate.
Lay it on me. I like it.
All right. So feeling my way through this recording software podcast stuff, kind of crash coursing it, thanks YouTube, for teaching myself how to use GarageBand in the course of, let's say 4 hours. Let's just put a number on that. So I had intentions of having a podcast a long time ago and then just never really pulled the trigger on it. And so I bought all this equipment a long time ago that I never really learned how to use. And so I plugged it all in today and I'm getting ready. I'm like, I'm going to be so ready for when it's time to record. And there was like a buzzing, humming. So fast forward to a lot of troubleshooting and freaking out and panic eating cookies. I am now located next to a music store, and it dawned on me about 40 minutes ago that I should maybe go ask the guys at the music store what to do. Because I didn't know what to do, and I was just pulling my hair out. I have literally scattered about me is like a ton of cables and microphones and headsets and all kinds of different stuff. And so I went over next door, and the guy Bryce at Music Masters literally came over here and helped me troubleshoot it. And he was a lifesaver. And he essentially said my mixing board was broken and not worth repairing. And that's fine. If that's the issue, cool. I just need to know what the issue is.
Right. So first of all, shout out to Bryce, obviously.
Thank you, Bryce, and Music Masters of Tallahassee. So anyway, I went back over to Music Masters. I bought me an audio box USB 96. All right. And at the recommendation of Bryce, it plugged right in about 5 minutes before we started recording. And it actually is working, and I'm not hearing the buzzing that I was hearing. And anyway, the day is saved. I am celebrating that win.
I'm going to sell it. Cheers. Cheers to that. Cheers with a nice glass of unpretentious fruit wine.
An unpretentious fruit wine, which I will be diving headfirst into in just a little bit. And if I didn't have an actual job later, I would be already doing it, to be honest with you.
You and I both. You and I both. So I'm so excited. Well, that's a great win. I like it. And that's what we're going to actually talk about today. I'm racking my brain and, I'm a big fan of this. I'm actually big fan of this. And I'm really, today hasn't been a lot of win-wins today. It's been a
lot of lose-lose.
It's a challenging day for Mary Fisk-Taylor, but I'm going to pull a win out. And the win for me is going to be my lookbooks are finally home from the printer. And, now they're sitting here staring at me, not really, but I'm pretending like these cardboard boxes are staring at me because they need to be labeled and, all that stuff to get out. But they are done and back from the printer. So we're going to go with that as a win for today.
And how long were you working on that?
I have been working on that since, that's embarrassing. I've been working. So this was a spring lookbook that turned into a spring summer lookbook that has slowly crept possibly into a summer lookbook. So March-ish for sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So actually a pretty big win in that.
A big win. You're right. Because you know what, as the almighty jugglers of everything, us small business professional photographers, we're juggling so much stuff. And you know what? it just had to wait till now. So I'm just going to go with that's a win, and now's the right time to be putting these out. So
and not put out there the sourness of whatever happened today. Okay.
No, we're going to let that go.
We're going to let that go. We're going to celebrate the win. I like it. I get bummed out quite a bit, and overwhelmed frequently when I have a list a mile long of things I have to do. Because, we talk about this all the time. When you're a photographer and you are you're an entrepreneur, you are the accountant, you are the janitor, you are the photographer, you are the salesperson, you are the tech support, you are all the things, right? And sometimes it's really, really suffocating. So there's been a few times where I am feeling overwhelmed and getting really down and out about maybe the sales goal that I've been trying to reach just seems unattainable, or maybe I just cannot get this lighting figured out or whatever. And it's nice when I have friends like you and my buddy Boo Ray, who I talk to frequently, who's always like, hey, have you ever sit back and just look about where you're at and think about where you were? Because honestly, I know that pretty much everyone I could think of, you've got so many wins in your court, and you lose sight of that because you're looking ahead so far.
Exactly. I mean, it's important to look ahead, right? You think about driving a car, and, shout out to Bure for being such a supporter and bringing the positive to light. But, as a driver, we look forward. That's what we're supposed to do. But you do need to glance in that rearview mirror here and there. And I think we forget to do that as onepreneurs, as small business owners, as moms, as wives, friends. Onepreneur. It's kind of but, we forget to do that. And because we're just so forward focused, which is great. But, we need to cut ourselves a break sometimes and look back and think, okay, wow, this has been a lot of maybe a lot of small wins, maybe some big wins mixed in with small wins. But, that's how we got here. And, we've got a pretty awesome life. So I'm with you, though. It's easy to get bogged down by the things that didn't go exactly the way I planned or aren't going the way I planned. It's just too easy to do that. But we need to stop doing that. As a matter of fact, I think I had this conversation with you as being being very goal oriented, actually. And I'm being a big fan of the journaling and the writing it down and messaging to myself and doing this on a daily, basis, weekly basis, quarterly basis. I hit December and on such a high, I think I told you this, just such a high, my year, I'd broken all my goals and I'd been on track and I'd done all these things for my business. And then I woke up one morning and it was January 1st and I had to start all over again.
That's depressing.
And honestly, I became oh, I don't know. And so this year has been a lesson for me to, it doesn't have to be these big, huge goals and huge wins. I need to celebrate small stuff like spending time with my husband or, finally getting around to taking better care of my health or, whatever it is. I mean, it could be doing the laundry, you know what I mean?
Right.
But, I just needed to take it in smaller bites because, life's too short to give up that quality. And I think many of us do this. I don't know. I know I do.
I totally do it. And then, I get, I get so overwhelmed with goal setting as far as a year out. I think you bring up a really good point because you're I hit December on such a high. That's such a high for a lot of us who have family portrait studios, right? Because that's the high season. And then you come into January and it's just the traffic isn't coming in at the volume that it was coming in. People aren't thinking about family photography and in that time of year. I think for me, that's always, that I realized was a problem this year, was that I am setting goals a year for the year.
Right.
And setting goals for the year is so overwhelming and unattainable because you don't know what's going to happen in the year. You don't know what you're going to get hit with at any point in any quarter, and so making it smaller and taking it down to, okay, so what's the 3-month goal?
Right.
I don't even want to worry about what the year goal is. Let's say sales wise, you know what I mean? I honestly don't want to even worry about what that is. I just want to worry about what's my 3-month. And then you can check in with yourself. And we learned that I learned that anyway from Ronan, Ryle with 3XM. And sitting through his presentation, it was such a light bulb moment for me when he said that. I was like, oh,
right. Yeah, Ronan Ryle with 3XM Solutions, who I know we both love, and he's so smart. And for a while now, I'm a big fan of that quarterly goal keeping, because I used to do it by the year. So there's so many issues with that. You're right. It's overwhelming to look at that whole year. Me, as the type of personality that I am, I think, well, I have till December to reach this goal. So it always seems so far away until it isn't. You know what I'm saying? And it's just overwhelming. So when you take things in quarters and those 3-month processes, it's just so much, I think you stay on track easier, because 3 months isn't that long. So if you set 3-month goals, you're going to be checking in daily, weekly to hit that 3-month. If you're off course, you still have the rest of the year, or you have more time to get back on. Right. And it doesn't feel like a failure if you didn't hit that and it's December,
So, here's a question for you then on that note. So let's say that you have a first quarter goal and you don't meet it.
Right.
Okay. So if you start that second quarter, are you adding what you didn't make to that first quarter to your second quarter? Or are you just starting fresh and going, okay, we didn't make that first quarter goal, but the second quarter goal we're adjusting and we're going from there? Do you try and pick up the slack of the first quarter into the second?
Yes and no. I mean, because sometimes it's just too huge. I mean, there could have been something if we had, for example, first quarter for me, what if we had a horrible, weather-wise, horrible winter, horrible, January, February because of weather. I'm not sure I can, make that up. I can only work but so hard. It's just, I do have a business partner, but it's just the two of us. So I got to be realistic with myself, but I may try to spread that out, like, kind of spread it out over the next 3 quarters to try to make up for a little bit of it, because I do start the year with a goal in mind, and it's either meet the same, amount of sales or sessions or whatever it is. I do try to do that every year, and it just kind of sits there. I don't focus on it on a daily or weekly basis, but I do look at it. So if I have a terrible quarter, or I miss my marks, whatever, then I'm going to look at it and see if I can spread it out over what's left. If not, I've just got to chalk it up to, next year, I'll make notes why I will definitely look at why I think I didn't hit my goals.
Right.
Was it weather? Was it I was out sick, or I traveled too much, or was it I wasn't diligent with my email marketing, or whatever it is. I will try to make those notes so that next year I don't make the same mistakes. But I don't know that we always can just say, oh, I'll just make it up next time. It's kind of like catching up on sleep. You really never.
Yeah, you really can't really catch up on sleep. But you can go back and analyze that data and look at what was the win.
Absolutely.
Like, okay, we didn't make that quarter, but we did gain these clients, and we did gain this networking contact, and we did get some new gear in the studio that was actually making a huge difference, or solved a new process with our billing that's making a huge difference. So, I mean, that's
like
the thing.
You moved. So that could affect your business one way or the other, but it's a win. It's a huge win, but it may throw things. You may have had to close for a week or something, or not take appointments for a week or something. That could throw our numbers off, but what a win. I mean, we can't look at that as a negative, right?
Right. In the process of moving, I was so not able to focus on anything else, but getting even that last week that I was in the studio, because I was really, if you ask my husband, he was like, so have you started packing the studio? No, I had not, because at the same time that we were needing to pack up the studio and move, we were also renovating the new space that wasn't quite ready. Right. So it was like, what ended up happening was I completely shut down. Like, that's, as I'm prone to do. I completely shut down and basically had I could only come to the new studio and paint. That was really all I was useful for for a time there.
But that's a win.
That was a win, and I got a lot of painting done. And then I walked around and I was like, I don't like the color that I chose. And my husband was like, that is the color that you chose, and we are going to live with for now. And so, it was a win. And the bigger win, honestly, was the fact that because I have such wonderful people in my life, and I'm so lucky, my brother and my husband, while my mom and I and dad were over here working on the new space, they went over to the old studio for 2 days and cleaned that mother out. Wow. They packed up everything. Now, did they pack it up the way that I would have packed it up? No, but who was packing it up, Kara?
Exactly. I know. Yeah. No, and that's a really good point, because it would be easy, and it would be easy for me to like nitpick that, but instead of just being so grateful for the win that they did that for me, but I could easily get detoured into being like, well, why did they pack it that way? And I wouldn't have done it. That's okay. It's done. I get paid for done. Let's move on. And that's like a letting go process that I'm still learning at my ripe old age. So good for you for even recognizing it. But it was that move is huge. And I love that question about what do you do? But I mean, it is. It's like catching up on sleep or something. It's not really possible, but we always can learn. And I feel like you always can garner some type of win from it, because a lot of times if I have an off quarter or if my goals aren't hit, sometimes it's because maybe I'm curating or working on some bigger sales or bigger things that just aren't going to hit in 90 days because they're too huge. It may take 120 days or more for those to hit. And then I may have like a humongous next quarter, but it's kind of skewed because that work was actually done 30 days
you actually
ago.
did. Yeah. Yeah. So like when did you actually make the money is actually an interesting question.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the other thing that I was thinking about when we promised each other we wouldn't talk about this before the podcast so that we could not spoil anything. But the other thing I was thinking about was the fact that work since moving into here, I have had so many wins, so many, like just the difference of the layout of the studio. I'm calling my sales room the living room, and it's all laid out. So that when you're looking at the wall art, it kind of reminds you of maybe your own space, I'm hoping anyway. And so that's been really, really working out for me in the sales room. And so everything in this new studio has been positive. The new landlord is positive. The location is positive. The fact that I'm attached to a wine bar is positive. All of those things are positive. And then at home, my daughter is really struggling, like at school, you know what I mean? And like, I'm getting really stressed out about her and how school's going to go and what our summer plans are going to go. And I just realized, it's one or the other. Either things are going great at home, like she's doing great, and the house is doing great, and me and Kevin are doing great, and everything's going great, and the work is kind of suffering. You know what I mean? Like something's not going great at work.
Right.
Or it's like
Vice versa.
It's like my mind focuses my dread as soon as one thing is relieved. It's like I always have this sense of dread. And that's why this is a really important subject, I think, for everybody, because and I don't wallow in my wins. You know what I mean? I should be ecstatic that this studio is going so well so far. You know what I mean?
Do you think that that's like, and I love that, and you're so right, and I'm guilty of the same thing, and I understand exactly where you're coming from, that dichotomy of, things are going good here, but this is falling apart. Mm-hmm. So like, do you think that it's a little bit like, that it's almost something we do to ourselves because, so say, for example, business is going great, or vice versa. Personally, everything's going great. Kids are great. Husband's great. Everything's good. And then business isn't going great. Then all of a sudden I can't be happy about anything good. I have to focus on the negative. I have to wallow in that. Mm-hmm. So then of course it's going to be bad. Because I feel like I'm almost self-prophesizing it for it to be bad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And then it affects everything in your life. You know what I mean? Like, so as, business is going great, but then, all of a sudden now you're super worried about your kids or about something at home or a parent or something like that, and then the business starts to suffer because you're starting to freak out on the other side, or things are going great at home, but the business isn't going great and you're struggling and freaking out about the business. And then it's stressing everybody out at home because you can't, because I can't just leave it at work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, and I don't, we're one person, so I don't think we can, I'm not from the school of thought that we can do everything great. Or perfect, or I really am not. I don't know how as one person I can be incredibly and 100% intentional and present at home and in my personal and family life, and 100% present and intentional in my work life at all times. But I think if we do a better job scheduling ourselves to when we need to be where and present, I think that would be super helpful in this whole journey. And what I mean by that is really, really scheduling like ourselves so that when I'm at work, I'm present at work. And when I'm at home, I'm present at home. And I think I've always got the baggage. I'm always carrying, it's like I'm constantly carrying this really, really huge backpack of the other. When I leave one, I still have the other one on my back. And I don't feel like I ever just feel like I can be one place without the other creeping in one way or the other.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if scheduling would be helpful. I don't know. But I think that it's definitely a problem. And I hear this from so many friends and photographers. And there's so much guilt and, I don't know. And then that
We
creates
got to just let go. We got to stop doing that to ourselves.
I know.
That side of it,
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, I think that all of us beat ourselves up and we're not allowing ourselves and cutting ourselves some slack. And I'm saying these things out loud because I'm trying to cut myself some slack. You know what I mean? Like
You're exactly right. And it's always the end of the school year hustle, which either the beginning of the school year or the end of the school year, for some reason, there's just so much anxiety and or dread. And it's like, the beginning of the school year, it's the anxiety of, sending our little ducklings off to this like strange place. And are they going to fit in? Are they going to have friends or the teacher?
Right.
It's all the unknown. The end of the school year, it's like, did we do enough? Am I enough? Are they enough? And it's like one more year down and we're counting down their little lives, and it's like, oh, we're at the end. Are they where they need to be for the next chapter? Whatever that is. And we're constantly, and I'm a big fan of goal setting and forecasting, but sometimes I think that is a negative because I think it creates a lot of anxiety.
Maybe it locks you in too tight.
Kinda.
So loose goal setting. So I want to go back to something that you said a minute ago, because I think you're onto something here. The scheduling thing, because scheduling is loose. I think it is scheduled, but you can move things around. And, one of the things that I did to try and help myself, leave it at work, was I stopped working on the weekends.
Yeah.
Occasionally I work on a weekend. I'm not saying that if the right job, the right client, it's a well-qualified client that's been with me for a long time and this is when they can do it, then I'll make time to do that. But I charge a premium price to shoot on the weekends so that people really make an effort to shoot during the week. And that's not something that, obviously I invented or anything. I feel like that's just common sense, but it was one of those things where photography is the kind of commodity that, people who work in the real world, I don't think they always consider it a real job, like a real 8 to 5, 9 to 5, And, so when you're already working, 40 and 60 hours a week or whatever, during the week, you've got to take those weekends off. It is so important. And I wasn't doing that. I was working. I used to go, well, I'll just not work on Sundays, and then I would take 2 shoots on a Saturday, and then I don't have any time to go do anything fun with my family, like we don't have time to go to brunch or to go to the zoo or to go on a trip or nothing because I had booked something out months ahead of time. And so then what was happening is my husband and my daughter were going to the zoo by themselves without me while I went and did a shoot. And that made me sad.
Of course. You feel guilty. And then, if you're operating like that, you're exactly right. And they're not pre-qualified, then you may have given up an entire Saturday with your family and for
somebody else's family, for their convenience.
And maybe they're not even investing in you properly. You know what I mean?
Right. It's for the convenience. When I started realizing that, when I started bending over, I'm all about being, meeting a client's needs. Right. But when I start making it more convenient for them to work with me on the weekend, I want them to work with me because they want to work with me. And if they want to work with me, then I'm only available Monday through Friday. And when I really start thinking about it, I really would like to start narrowing that Monday through Friday down to on Mondays and Tuesdays, I do these things.
I think you almost have to. Yeah. I think we have to start doing that with our lives because here again, I'm going to use the word again, but as the person the onepreneur, but the one who we've got to market, we've got to network, we've got to, do all these other things in our small businesses. If we're not setting this, I think it's so hard to just continually change gears. So it's like, okay, I'm going to photograph and now I'm going to work on some marketing. Oh no, now I got an order. Oh, now
I got a phone call. Yeah.
There's no way we're doing anything 100%. Yeah. So I think scheduling a day or two a week, those are your days to, invest in your business and invest in the marketing and whatever it is. I think we have to do that in order to find any kind of balance. And maybe that type of discipline would lead into our personal life and cause us to say, nope, you know what? Evenings and weekends are off the table. Unless, like you said, they've invested, there's a predetermined, investment level, they've signed a proposal or whatever it is. But and which we all do. I definitely do that. If someone comes in and I'm going to do a commission and I know guaranteed up front what it's going to be, or at least what we've speculated. Yeah, I'm going to come in on a Saturday or Sunday, even a Sunday if I had to.
Absolutely. But you know what you have to do to get that kind of job done. Right. You know what I mean? Like today, for example, and I know we're kind of veering off subject, but I just think this is a fascinating one. Today, for example, I took a job that is after hours for me that I don't normally do during the week, because it was with a magazine, a state magazine that I really wanted to get my foot in the door with.
There you go.
You know, and they called for the first time, and it's a small gig and it's nothing fancy, but it was just like, you know what? I would love to get on their vendor list as a photographer, you know? Right. And I think if I say no to this, then maybe I might not get another opportunity to get my foot in the door, you know? Right. So now I'm going to go do this later at 6:00, and it's just a quick one-off thing. But, you know, you make those concessions depending on the thing. But I honestly, you know, I think I'm going to start doing like, you know, maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays are headshot days in the studio. You know, maybe Monday is marketing day, or, you know, I know everybody's already doing this. This is just how I'm just talking out loud to get my stuff together.
No, I don't think people are. I know it seems obvious to all of us, but I talk to too many photographers, and you do as well, that don't. They want to value their time and they want others, but they really and truly don't, because what happens is the bank balance gets a little low, or the schedule's looking a little too open, and we start feeling desperate, and we no longer value our brand and ourselves. And the minute we start doing that, we start with concessions. And when you start conceding, then you're working a little bit later, or you're coming in on the weekend. And I think we all have done it, and will continue to do it when we feel a little anxious about what our schedule looks like, and, you know, what goals we're not hitting.
And the other thing that starts to happen, that I know this makes me super anxious, is when you lose control over the situation with the client. You know, when the client starts basically calling the shots, like the client's deciding when you're going to do it, and for how much, and for how much time. And you know what I mean? Like the second that somebody asked me how much does it cost for 3 hours of photography? And I'm not a wedding photographer, so you know what I mean? But when somebody, a family inquiry asked me how much for like 2 hours or 3 hours of photography, that kind of like gets my hairs on
under your skin.
Yeah,
I'm just like, how I feel. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's just not even the point of what I do.
That's not how I do. You know, none of what I do focuses on the amount of time that we do it for. You know what I mean? Like it's not, you know, and so that's when I go ahead and start clarifying or whatever, and get control back of the situation. But yeah, when you start making concessions like that, you, based on what the client asks you, then you really start to compromise, and you sink back into that like anxiety pit.
100%.
That I go to Whole Foods happy hour about, and then drown my troubles away.
Yeah. You know, when we talk about how to celebrate the small wins, there's a few little things. And I mean, this is just like my little go-to list. Like you have to know them, right? You have to notice them. You have to take a minute, take a beat, take a pause, and actually acknowledge them. Like you did with with Bryce next door, helping you out and getting that, sound thing straight. Owning something, because it would be so easy for me to go for the rest of the day and not own a single positive thing. So for me to say, you know what, it took me a long time. These catalogs are done. They look great. They're going out this week. I need to take the time to notice it. And we don't do that. And be okay to get excited about it. As silly or small as it is, maybe, I'm excited because I actually went to the gym this morning, or, I made the bed. I mean, I don't know, whatever it is, be okay with taking a moment and celebrating it and being like, good for you, Mary. You got it done today.
You're making steps. You know what I did, Mary, that I would like to celebrate, speaking of that, because you're reminding me of it. You went to the gym. I purchased a sports bra. And so I'm on my way.
Close.
I am very close to nailing down a time and day that I will work.
Put it on.
I will put it on, maybe put it on and just wear it around the house.
But not like to Whole Foods. Not to Whole Foods. You put it on and go to the gym in it, or go on a walk in it.
I don't know. Going to the gym seems like excessive, honestly. Right. I think if I put on the workout gear, I will be motivated to take a walk to the Whole Foods.
All right.
Because it's in the neighborhood.
Yes. Well, if you put on the gear, you're going to look like every other.
That's right. I will look like all of the other women hanging out in the Whole Foods.
Yeah.
I'm celebrating that win. I'm telling you, I'm taking the steps of moving forward towards taking a walk.
Okay. And you just hit my third little go-to with small wins. You communicated your win.
There you go. I'm telling people about it.
When you say it out loud, it makes it bigger and more exciting.
I will say I didn't love the fit of the sports bra, so I do need to exchange it. And it's it's mail order, online order. So I don't know. It might be a while.
You have to go to the post office or something, because for some reason that's the bane of my existence.
Yeah. If it doesn't fit in my gigantic mailbox to go back out, then it may never get returned.
Okay. Because I'm like, if I have to go to a post office or a UPS store, it may never happen.
It may never happen. There are some things that are conveniently located for me, and that's really the only reason anything happens. So, we have a UPS store next to the Publix. So if I have, but I don't like to go to the grocery store in general, so it's rare. Anyway, I have a lot of problems, obviously. But, I'm celebrating the wins, and today's win, of course, is that I'm getting to talk to you.
It is.
And it sounds somewhat normal, and it's not buzzing. And now I have new friends next door at the music store.
I mean, that's exciting. That in itself is an exciting thing. And I'm excited about this podcast. And you know what? That's the next part about celebrating those wins is creating habits that continue the process of small wins. So us creating this podcast is a win, right? And we're going to keep doing it, which is going to continue to put wins in our life every time.
I think it is. And if you're listening to this and you're relating to it at all and you're thinking to yourself, I don't celebrate my wins enough. I would actually, Mary and I'd love to hear about your wins. I'd love to hear about something that you won recently, whether it was something in your business or at home or personally. I think that would be something worth sharing. And then we will celebrate it with you. So you can celebrate those wins with us. You can email us because we have an email address and I'm really
I love our
excited
email address so much.
Yeah. And it probably works.
It might work.
So our email address, if you would like to email us, is girl@getyourshoottogether.com.
Oh my gosh. It's literally the best email address ever, though, I think.
I started to do questions at or info at or whatever. And I was just like, girl, I need to identify this part of, since we're early in our podcasting venture here. I'm not somebody who says girl. That's not a word that I use. Like, I don't refer to other women. I know that you do. But we didn't. We weren't that close. I feel like I
only call you girl. You're my girl. Like, I don't know why. Like, I just texted you, or I don't know what it was. I was like, girl. And you're like, girl.
You're in my phone as girl. That's what it's like. It just says girl, period. And it's just like one day, I don't remember which one of us said it, but all of a sudden it was just like girl.
And it just stuck. But sometimes we speak Spanish too. So sometimes it's oh gosh, now I forgot the Spanish.
What is that, mujer?
I don't know.
I don't know how to say girl.
I think only at Whole Foods Happy Hour can I speak Spanish. That would be
sometimes. Sometimes we're long distance Whole Food Happy Houring it. So anyway, if you would like to share some wins with us, please do, because we love to hear about that. So you can email us. We also, by this time, as you're listening to this, we have an Instagram account, Mary. I don't know exactly yet what we're going to post, but when we post stuff, you should also comment on it. It's Get Your Shoot Together on Instagram, @GetYourShootTogether.
I mean, and it's got the cutest little caricatures of Kira and I ever.
Where you were like, we had these characters done of us, and you were like, hey, it looks good. And I was like, hey, but could my arm be different? And could also my leg be different? And also, I don't like that they put a split in my bangs, even though I know my bangs have a split in them quite a bit. I just don't like that. So could he fix that? And also,
I literally had 3 arms. And I'm like, it's fine with me. I'm totally cool with it. Just let it roll. And Kira's like, no, let's fix it. Anyway.
I would be the girl who's neurotic about her cartoon character version of herself. Like, I'm self-conscious, body conscious about this cartoon character.
If there was any betting going on here, which there is not, the bet would have been on you for sure. You would have definitely been the winner of that one. I was like, but I'm excited. Instagram, email, we're definitely Get Your Shoot Together. I think we're gonna, give you a shout out or certainly try, to respond in a timely fashion, because that's what we're here for.
Yeah, or not. Maybe it might take a long time. We don't know. We're very.
This is true. I'm a little more on that part. Maybe Kira is too. She's totally kidding.
I really am. No, we will respond to you. I'm excited to hear about it. So, anyway, do that for us, guys, and keep listening. We have tons of other topics that we really want to dive into. So, anyway, I hope that you are putting aside all your loses for the day and celebrating even the smallest win, because it's so important for just keeping yourself in check.
Exactly. And here we are, Mary and Kira, and this is the Get Your Shoot Together podcast, and it's for photographers, hoping to help you get in line your studio, business, life, and just trying to keep it all together. That's what we're here to talk about. So keep tuning in. We really enjoy it.
Great. And we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, y'all.